Welcome back. Before we start the build of the car, we're going to talk a little bit about the tools that I'm going to use and some of the parts, and then we'll go into the roller itself and how I purchased it and why. Tools you'll probably need or want. I use a torque wrench, a little Husky 1/4 inch drive. That's going to come into play when we do our engine. I use a little hand screwdriver here, Ryobi. I don't use it to torque anything down. I mainly use it to take screws and bolts in and out. When it comes down to torquing, I'm either going to use a torque wrench or I will use my hand. You may need some metric taps. At some point you will. Drill bits. Now, a few tools that's going to be handy to have. These come from DDM, and they come as a set now, but you have this little tool here turns into a little T-handle. You can get some pretty good torque out of it, or you can turn it into a traditional screwdriver. What I really like about these is the long shank. That comes in handy many times. If you do go to DDM to purchase them, they're going to come like this. You'll get your hand driver, and then you'll get this driver that converts into a T-handle. It also converts into a little ratchet wrench. I have yet to use this set. I don't know how well it is. I know I prefer the other one just because, you know, it's what I'm used to, but these may be eventually turn out to be that I like them better, but I don't know. But when you go to DDM and you buy the set, it'll come with the two drivers. It'll come with another bundle of tools and parts. You got some stubby bits. You know, these are all metric Allen heads, and then you'll have the long shank ones, and you'll also get the ball end. The ball end, if you try to torque down, the ball will snap off, but I do have an option I'll show you in a minute that works a little better. As far as these tools go, they don't last very long. It's not a real hard tool. In this build alone, you'll probably wear out the 3mm, so don't get too upset, but it's what we have to deal with. Now, I use a lot of Torx in my builds. You can put a lot of torque on this without any problem. You can also get these from DDM. Now, either at Home Depot or Harbor Freight, you can find these ball end Allens. They come with a 3/8 socket, and what you can do is you can take a pin and punch that out, and you can have this shank that'll go into your driver. These you can torque with a little bit more. I have broken the 3mm, you know, getting too excited, but that is an option. MIP makes a real good tool, but I've had terrible luck with them. It's probably me, but I have broken quite a few of them. A guy called Nitro Freak on YouTube put me on to these tools here from Sendit RC. They are really good quality. I have had no issue with them. I have not broken a tip. My personal preference, I wish the shank was longer, then I would be totally satisfied with these. But wearing them out, I've yet to wear one out. What I did do, you have an Allen screw here that you can change these out when they do wear out, but I didn't check the Allen screw, and I had it into like a torque wrench, and I torqued down on it and something snapped. I thought I broke the shank inside, but it didn't. What it did was it sheared the Allen head off of it, and it's because I didn't tighten it down. So I had to drill and retap, and I made sure this time that I Loctited, and I got this thing tight, and I have had no issues with these. These are a really good tool. You can check them out on the senditrc.com website. But nut drivers, this is just something from Home Depot. It's changeable sockets. I'm real pleased with it, no problems. You will eventually need some traditional Allen wrenches to get in tight spots, so you're going to want a few of those. Oh, almost forgot. These here come from Detroit Performance. They're Allens. They look like the Torx. I don't know if the camera is showing it very well, but they're Allens, and I bought these, oh my gosh, a year before I used them. When they came in and I saw it looked like Torx, I just screwed up, so I just threw them on the bench, and I never used them. Well, I broke my MIP, I broke my DDM trying to get some screws out, and for some reason I looked over on the bench and I saw these, and I said, well, heck, let's see what it is. And I found out after I opened them, they are Allens. And I put this into this little T-driver and put a pair of channel locks on it, and I was able to break that screw loose. From Detroit Performance, they're under the label of RC Max. However, RC Max is rebranding its products into Taylor RC. They will still be the same quality, just under a different brand name. Another good quality tool that I like, I believe this is a Dynamite Tool, and it's for installing E-clips. Those of you that's got really good eyes probably not going to need this. However, as you get older, I found that this tool here really saves me from hunting E-clips. This here will hold it and you just pop it in. Really good tool. You can get this from DDM, but I also think you can get this from Horizon Hobby, because I believe it is a Dynamite brand. Screwdrivers, you'll need your traditional Phillips and flathead screwdrivers. However, you need to look for some screwdrivers that have the long shank. At some point in the build, we'll go into these, and you'll see where they're handy. Crescent wrenches, small end wrenches. Mostly on the end wrenches, I use the 7 or the 8. You'll need some pricks. These are Harbor Freight brand. They hold up pretty good. This is RC cars, you know, so some of the Harbor Freight tools work really well. You'll need some punches at times to knock some bearings out. Safety wire, pliers, and you basically, as you're pulling it, it'll twist the wire up real well. You will use this in 2 places. You'll use it on your hubs and also your exhaust can. When you get into the transmission, you're going to need some retaining ring pliers. As far as thread locker, it doesn't matter the brand. You can use the Permatex or you can use the Loctite. Blue is about all I use. This build we're doing is going to be just a simple build. All I want to do is get you out on the track, making laps, making sure this is what you want to do before you go into great expense on building what we call next level or national level car. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a platform to work with. King Motor sells a roller, and they also sell RTRs. The roller from time to time is hard to get. It sells out pretty fast. A lot of people build other than dirt late models. They build bashers, but they'll opt to get this roller. The RTR works fine. The RTR has a few upgrade parts, but it also has parts that you can't use. You can't use the engine in the stock class, and the radio and the servos that come with it, they're good for bashing around, but when you get into racing, you're going to want some good servos and you're going to want a good radio. Now on the roller itself, you know, and I'm trying not to forget, but you can also get a RTR from Rovan. But the King Motor, most of us that are racing prefer the King Motor due to the shocks. Now you'll get this instruction manual that on the car talking about different things, but what's really good, you got these drawings that show you the parts, how they are assembled. From time to time, especially when I was new to it, this was real handy to say, okay, I need that screw for this spot. Works good. They're going to give you a few tools. You're going to want to hold on to the spark plug wrench. This is a shock tool lug wrench. I've never used it, so I don't know the quality. The air filter they send with you, not very good. They will also send you some Allen wrenches. They're okay. They send you a battery charger, a few other things, but I usually just throw them in the bin down below. Now, little parts like this, it's got the little the clips. I usually hold on to and keep. But this is your basic roller. We're going to start tearing this down in a few minutes. But before then, let's talk a little bit about the engine. The engine is a G290 RC from DDM. The part number is BB211. It's a stock Zenoa 29cc. A few parts you're going to need for your engine. One, you're going to need an exhaust can. You know, and as we go through this build, we're going to talk about rules, but this is a requirement to run in stock class and open class. This is a money saver. Keeps us from going out and buying 5 or 6 different pipes. And this was a really good rule that they come up with. Now, downside to this can is the bolts they send with it to bolt in. After a few heat cycles, they start to stretch, and your can will loosen up. I found Losi makes a exhaust can screws. These are hardened. Once I swapped over to these, I never had problems with it loosening up. I still from time to time cut the safety wire off just to check it, but really good part, Losi brand. It's a part number LOSR 5026. For your carburetor, you're going to add a velocity stack, a decent air filter. The velocity stack we're using in this build comes from DDM. You have an option to run either the stock carburetor spacer, or you can run this one here, which is AV542. It comes with all the hardware and gaskets you need. However, these gaskets, after a few runs of heat cycling, your carburetor will loosen up. Now, an option you can go out and purchase, and as far as I know, there's 2 places you can get these gaskets. Here, one of them is from Donnie Nelson Racing. The other place is Victor Jennings Motorsports. And we're going to talk more and more about Donnie Nelson and Victor Jennings Motorsports, because everything you can order from DDM, you can also order from Victor Jennings, and we'll discuss how to order from Victor Jennings in the coming video. But these gaskets here, you can use them over and over. They hold up real well to the heat cycles. I have not had any issues with them. Again, just like the Losi screws are hardened steel, my exhaust can doesn't loosen up, and with these gaskets my carburetor doesn't loosen up. They do the job. You still have to use a little Loctite, but in the box you'll get an owner's manual. This owner manual gives you the torque specs to your engine, and also fuel filter, fuel line, which we're not going to use this fuel line, and a spark plug wrench. Now, looking at the engine, obviously we're going to lose this can here, and we're going to add our little billet spacer in here, and we're going to put a velocity stack. But this is your engine. When you order it, you're going to want to order it with the clutch. This is the legal clutch that you can run, but these engines are ready to go right out of the box. You only need to put a couple heat cycles on them to get the ring to seat. And your chassis will come with 4 hubs, stock hubs. To help the handling of it, you're going to use 1-inch extended hubs on your car. Get your wheel stance out. These are from Rovan. They're good. They're okay. The best ones you can get, that I have found, is from DDM. It's called the Dark Soul. Dark Soul, when you put them in, they fit. Sometimes I've gotten these from Rovan, and I've had to do a little machining work. Hopefully I'll have to do a little machining work on these to show you what you'll have to do if you run into that situation. Your bearing carriers, this is an option part. You don't have to have it to start, but at some point update this to these. These are billet, and what's good about them is you can change your toe in, toe out by the use of pills. These stock ones, you don't have very many parts for them, but to change your toe, you're going to have to pull the hub off, you're going to have to pull these 4 screws out, and you're going to have to flip-flop shim to get your toe. Versus these here, all you do is pull the E-clip, pull the pin out, put a new pill in it. Your shocks coming from King Motor are pretty good shocks. You have the option to change the springs. This was the old spring set from RC for Less. I don't think they're manufacturing these anymore. If they do, check the website. But Victor Jennings Motorsports got with an American company and is now getting these made. He sells them in 2 different types. One is unpainted and one is painted. You should think about adding a sway bar kit. The sway bar kit here is from TIT. You can get these also from I believe King Motor sells some when they're in stock. The reason I've opted for the TIT is because they had none in stock at King Motors. However, from time to time you can get the ones from DDM. They're about $60 something the last time I checked, versus these are about $15. HPI, even though they don't manufacture the roller or the RTR anymore, they still make parts, and from time to time, if you check DDM, they will have original HPI parts for sale. Your steering, when you get a roller or an RTR, it comes with this stock plastic Servo Saver. It's hard to see it in this video, but from DDM, the Turtle Racing steering Servo Saver for the HPI. They sell 2 types. I don't think it really matters on which type you get, but what you need to make sure of, is that you get a good quality Servo Saver. With the plastic one, if after a couple crashes, what's going to happen is this is going to break. No way around it. This will hold up. The spring is stiff enough on this to where when the car is turning, that it's not giving, but it gives enough for when you do crash to save your servo from stripping gears. Your servos, I'll use from Savox. I use the throttle servo and the steering servo. There's many other manufacturers of steering and throttle servos. High-Tech, you have Spectrum that builds servos, and even Detroit Performance sells some servos. But I had really no issues with these. I've lost a throttle servo in the beginning, but 2 years of racing on the same servo, it's still in the car. Eventually it will wear out, but knock on wood, it's held up. I know a lot of people that's had issues with the Savox, but I also know people that's had issues with the Spectrums. And coming back to the company Send It RC, for about a year now, he has a driver in California that races off-road, and they have been testing some 5th scale servos. Just recently on his website, he listed them up for sale. He's doing a pre-order. He wants to see the interest of it. Send It RC company is founded on the premises, I'm a racer, so I want to make parts available to racers at a decent price. I use the Futaba Radio and the Futaba gyro. You don't necessarily have to go this route. There are other options. Hack Slider has a gyro, Spectrum has radios, but Futaba is the brand that I chose, and this is the direction I'm headed in. As far as gyros go, I'm pretty sure that just about everybody is using the gyro. Some people may not. I don't see how they can handle the car without a gyro, because the rear of this car is so heavy, and the speeds that we're going at, if it goes to snap loose, it's coming around, and most drivers are not going to be able to catch that with an eyesight. So the gyro is there to assist you, to hopefully keep you from spinning out. Also, there's another gyro that people use. It's called a D-Box. You can still buy those. That's an HPI brand. I've seen them for sale on DDM's website. Battery, what I'm currently using is the Killer RC 4200 2S. It's a LiPo battery. They also, Spectrum makes a Life battery. I prefer to go with the LiPo because of the quicker steering response I get out of it. The thing with a LiPo battery, just a safety precaution, you should balance charge them. Helps them to last longer, and if you're not going to run the car for a month or two, you should go ahead and put it into safe mode. But good battery, they hold up, optional parts. You're going to need some electronic wires and connections. I'll go into more detail when we build the radio box. A transponder, this transponder, I get those from Victor Jennings. Kill switches, is mandatory that you have a kill switch. I've never used this brand of kill switch. Is the only one that I could purchase at the time, but I prefer the Killer RC. Not saying Killer RC is the have-to-have, but it's the brand that I've started with, and it's the brand that I'm comfortable with. This one here is a lot cheaper than the Killer. It may or may not be a good option, I don't know, but we're going to put it in this car to try it. They also have a kill switch on DDM's website, MOD. A lot of people are saying those are really good. This is a stock Servo Clip. You'll have to get a widened clip. You can get those from Rovan. You're going to have that to run the Savox. I'm not sure about the other servos, but I know with the Savox brand, you've got to take this one off and put this on. For your rear transmission, stock comes with these here. I had a lot of problems with the stock ones, and mostly my era. When these cars, even though it's a 29cc engine, when they get airborne, and if you're on full throttle and that car hits, these ears will snap off. Also with the stock, you can see where this one is starting to wear. This probably has about 3 or 4 races on it, and and that's a no-no. Since having problems, I was referred to start using the Fast Lane. They have a ring around it. Let's pop one out. They have a ring around it to help keep you from snapping the ears off when you land hard. Also with these, this did not wear out on mine. I did break one, but I'm pretty sure it's just because after a year and a half of racing, you're gonna have parts that wear, and I hit the wall just at the right time, full throttle, and it did snap, but it didn't come out, but it did break here. But I could tell something was wrong with the car when I put it back on the stand and started rolling it. but good quality piece. In my opinion, this would be a must-have. Maybe the first couple races you can run the stock one with no problems, but eventually this is going to wear. And like I said, if your car gets airborne and you don't let off the throttle and it hits full throttle, these ears will snap off. Other parts that you will have to have on this build is a screw kit. This screw kit here is a one from off of DDM. It's the Toney screw kit. It has all the screws you need, and you won't need very many, but you will need a few to complete the build. They sell other kits that are cheaper. Full Force has a screw kit that'll work just fine. I believe this screw kit now is about 60 bucks. The Full Force was in the neighborhood of about 40. Alright, well guys, we're gonna go ahead and start the teardown. And if you have any questions, please put it in the comments down below, and I will try to address those questions at some point during the videos. Like I said, I don't like videos that run over 10 minutes. I usually try to keep all my videos short and sweet. However, these first two have gotten stretched out just a little bit, and just what it is. Hopefully the next videos with some time lapse and some speed up, we can get them in the 10-minute range that I always shoot for. However, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.